Jared sat silently in his golden cage, legs crossed, staring blankly at the shimmering glass wall in front of him. To anyone watching, he looked calm and harmless, a perfect little pet. Around him, soft alien music played from hidden speakers, and the air smelled like sweet citrus. His owner, a tall blue-skinned alien named Vorta, lounged nearby on a floating chair, reading strange symbols on a glowing tablet. Jared had learned long ago to keep his face blank, his movements slow, his curiosity hidden. Planet Veltrax was nothing like Earth. The skies were purple, the trees glowed at night, and the air was thick but breathable. Here, humans weren't people. They were pets, bought, sold, trained. Some aliens dressed them up in silly costumes, others kept them in cages like birds. Vorta was one of the richest collectors. He had 5 humans in his collection, but Jared was his favorite. He thought Jared was obedient, quiet, even a little dumb. That's why Vorta often let him out into the main room during the day. He had no idea Jared was watching, learning. Jared had been taken from Earth when he was a child. He barely remembered the sky, the oceans, or his parents' faces, but he remembered the fear. The ships came out of nowhere. They weren't here to talk. They destroyed the cities, killed millions, and collected survivors like toys. Now, many years later, Jared had grown up behind alien walls, but deep inside, something had never died. The spark, the memory of freedom, and the silent promise that one day, he would fight back. Every day, he followed the same routine. Eat the nutrient, paste they gave him. Pretend to play with the glowing ball in his cage. Sit still when the aliens watched him. Act scared when they tapped the cage walls. But when they weren't looking, he listened. He studied the sounds of their machines, the way their doors opened, how their devices worked. He began to recognize words. Vorta liked to talk out loud, even when no one was listening. Jared was always listening. One afternoon, something unusual happened. Vorta left the door to his private lab slightly open. That had never happened before. Jared noticed right away. His heart beat faster, but he didn't move. Not yet. He waited. Vorta got a call and walked into another room, laughing. Jared quietly stood up, walked to the edge of his cage, and pushed the small hatch he had secretly loosened weeks ago. It clicked open with a soft snap. He crawled out, silent as a shadow. The floor was cold under his feet. He moved slowly, each step careful. The lab door was still open. He slipped inside. The room was filled with alien tech, glowing orbs, floating screens, metal boxes with blinking lights. But something on the main table caught his eye. It was a map. He knew it was a map because it showed star systems, planets, and travel routes. And there, marked in red, was a damaged blue planet, Earth. Jared stared at it, breath caught in his throat. Next to it was another symbol, one he had seen only once before, a weapon warning sign. The aliens used that symbol for forbidden tech. A soft sound made him freeze. Vorta was coming back. Jared didn't have time to memorize everything, but he burned the image into his mind as best as he could. Earth wasn't gone, not completely, and there was something powerful left there, something the aliens were hiding. Maybe a weapon, maybe a hope. He slid out of the lab just in time, dived back into the cage, and pulled the hatch shut behind him. His heart was pounding, sweat trickling down his back. Vorta walked in moments later, completely unaware. He glanced at Jared and laughed. "Still just a quiet little pet," he muttered in his alien tongue. Jared curled up in the corner and pretended to sleep. But his mind was wide awake. He had seen the map. He had seen the weapon. And now, he had a reason to escape. He didn't know how, or when, or even if he would make it. But for the first time in years, Jared felt something powerful. He felt purpose. In the silence of his golden cage, Jared smiled to himself. Just a little. The aliens had no idea what they had just started. Jared didn't sleep that night. He lay still in his cage, eyes closed, but his mind was racing. The image of the map burned in his brain. Earth, damaged but not erased, and beside it the weapon. What kind of weapon? Was it alien? Human? He didn't know. But if it was hidden, then it had to be important, maybe powerful enough to change things, maybe powerful enough to fight back. In the morning, everything looked the same. The same soft lights, the same alien music, the same cold paste for breakfast. Vorta tapped on the cage walls like always and laughed when Jared didn't react. But Jared was done pretending to be dumb. From now on, he needed to think smart. And he needed help. That evening, a new human arrived. Vorta was excited. He opened a large silver container, and inside was a young woman, dirty, scared, her wrists bound in glowing cuffs. She was shoved into the cage across from Jared. The other humans in the room looked up for a moment, then returned to staring into nothingness. They were broken, silent, forgotten. But not Jared, and not her. She looked at Jared through the bars. Her eyes were sharp, full of fire. That same fire Jared felt burning inside himself. Her name was Mira. For the next few days, Jared watched her. She didn't scream or cry like most new pets. She studied everything just like he did. When the aliens played loud music, she mouthed words to herself, practicing their language. When they were fed, she watched how the food was delivered. How the doors opened and closed. Jared waited until they were alone one evening, the aliens asleep upstairs. He picked up a small toy in his cage and tapped it against the wall in a soft rhythm. Mira looked up. He tapped again. 3 short knocks, then 1 long tap, 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 tap. She raised an eyebrow, then replied with the same pattern. That night, a connection was made. Over the next week, they spoke in whispers when they were sure no one could hear. Jared told her what he saw in the lab, the map, the weapon. Mira's eyes widened, and for the first time she smiled. "I was there," she whispered. "I saw the fall." Jared leaned closer, heart pounding. "I remember when Earth fell," Mira continued. "I was a child, hiding in a bunker. My father was a scientist. He told me something was being built, something powerful. But we never saw it. We were taken before the final attack." Jared's voice was barely a breath. "The weapon," she nodded. "Maybe. If it's still there, we could use it. But there was a problem. They were prisoners in a luxury cage. No weapons. No food outside what they were given. No way out. Until Jared showed her the trick he had used to escape once before, the hidden hatch at the back of his cage. Mira stared at it with wide eyes. "You did this?" she asked, impressed. He nodded. "Once. But I had to go back. Too risky alone." Together, they began to plan. First, they needed a key, one of the alien command chips that unlocked doors and systems. Jared had seen Vorta place a small green chip inside his robe pocket. He always carried it during feeding time. They waited for the right moment. It came during a party. Vorta invited 3 other aliens to his home. They drank glowing liquids and made loud noises, laughing at how cute their human pets were. Jared and Mira were let out of their cages to play in the center room like trained animals. The aliens barely paid attention to them. Mira distracted them with a dance, pretending to trip, to spin, to act silly. The aliens roared with laughter. Jared moved close to Vorta during the chaos. He reached carefully, his fingers light and fast. 1 touch, 1 grab. He had the chip. He slipped it into his mouth and backed away, pretending to crawl after a bouncing ball. The party went on. The aliens were too drunk to notice. Later that night, Jared showed the chip to Mira. She held it carefully, her hands shaking. "This can open doors," she whispered. "Maybe even the lab," Jared said. They didn't sleep. Not that night. Their hearts were beating with hope and fear. The next step was dangerous. They had one chance, and no one could help them but each other. In the shadows of the alien house, 2 quiet humans, once called pets, were becoming something else. They were becoming dangerous. And just above them, in the locked lab, the secret of Earth waited to be discovered. They were ready, almost. But fate was already moving. Outside the house, in the distant sky, something new arrived. Something metallic, fast, and watching. A hunter drone. It had found a signal, and it was coming for them. The sky above planet Veltrax was darker than usual. Thick clouds floated low and lightning flashed quietly in the distance. Jared and Mira stood close inside their cages, whispering the final parts of their plan. The chip Jared had stolen still worked. It had opened a small panel near the back wall that connected to the ventilation shaft. If they were careful, quiet, and lucky, they could escape into the city. But they had no idea what waited outside. Tonight was the night. The aliens were asleep after another long party. The house was quiet. Soft lights glowed across the ceiling. Jared tapped the cage wall in their signal, 3 short, 1 long. Mira answered. It was time. Jared unlocked his cage with the chip, the door sliding open with a soft hiss. Mira followed. They stayed low, crawling across the polished floor, hiding behind furniture and large vases. One wrong move and a camera would see them. One beep and the guards would come. They reached the lab. Jared placed the chip near the door's control panel. It blinked red, then green. The door slid open. Inside, the room was cold and buzzing. Jared moved fast. He found the map again and snapped a picture using the alien tablet, not knowing if it would even save the file. Mira searched nearby shelves for anything useful. Tools, wires, small energy cells. Then Jared heard it. A faint, metallic click. He flew outside the window. Something floated in the air. Black, round, silent. A red light blinked at its center. A hunter drone. It's seen us, Jared whispered. Mira turned pale. Run! Alarms screamed. Lights turned red. The lab doors slammed shut behind them, locking them in. The drone crashed through the glass window, sending shards flying. Jared grabbed a metal rod from the table and swung hard. The rod hit the drone's side, knocking it off balance for a second. Mira threw a device she found, something glowing and buzzing. It exploded with a bright flash, blinding the drone for a moment. They didn't wait. Jared smashed the wall panel near the air vent and pulled Mira inside. The tunnel was narrow and dark, but it led out. He had seen the blueprints once when cleaning. Behind them, the drone followed, dragging its broken parts through the tight space, sparks flying off its body. Jared and Mira crawled fast. The vent shook around them. At one point, Mira screamed. The drone's claw caught her foot. Jared turned back, kicked the claw with all his strength again and again. It finally let go. They kept crawling. Finally, the shaft dropped downward. Jared went first, sliding down into darkness, then landing hard on his feet. Mira followed. They were outside. The city was nothing like they had imagined, tall, glowing. Towers filled the sky, and flying ships moved in every direction. The streets below were filled with alien creatures, some walking, others rolling or hovering. Neon lights blinked from every wall, and massive screens showed alien news, ads, and warnings. Jared pulled Mira behind a dumpster. We need to disappear. Now. But they looked human, and humans were not allowed to roam free. They would be spotted in seconds if they didn't hide. Mira pointed to a dark alley. They moved quickly, keeping their heads low, using the shadows to hide. At one point, a patrol robot floated past. They held their breath. The robot paused, scanned the area, then moved on. They kept walking. Finally, they reached the old part of the city, the Forgotten District. Broken lights, cracked buildings, and silence. No aliens came here anymore. Too old, too dirty, too dangerous. Jared knocked on a metal door with the same rhythm. 3 short, 1 long. Silence. Then the door opened. A man stood there. Human, wearing armor made from different alien parts. His eyes scanned them quickly, then nodded. You made it. Mira stepped forward. We saw the map. We saw the weapon. The man let them in. Inside, the room was full of humans. Not broken pets, but survivors. Fighters. Jared looked around in awe. There were weapons, tools, screens showing alien movements. A small underground base. We're the Resistance, the armored man said. "We've been waiting for someone like you." Jared still couldn't believe it. After all these years, he thought he was alone. But now he was part of something bigger. He turned to Mira. "We're not pets anymore," he said. She smiled. "No, we're warriors." Above them, in the shining towers of Veltrax, the Alien Council received the alert. 2 humans had escaped. One of them had touched forbidden tech. A name flashed across their screens. Jared. The hunt had begun, and war was coming. Jared stared at the underground base in disbelief. For years, he had thought he was the only one who remembered Earth, the only human who still cared to fight. But now, he was surrounded by people. Real people, not silent pets, who were ready to fight back. Some were young, others old. But they all had the same look in their eyes: anger, pain, and fire. The man who had saved them introduced himself. His name was Kellen, a former Earth soldier captured during the first alien raids. He had escaped years ago and built the resistance in secret. Slowly, carefully, he had gathered humans from across Veltrax. Each had a story. Each had lost something, and each one wanted revenge. Mira sat at a small table, fixing a damaged drone with shaky hands. Jared sat beside her, still processing everything. Kellen walked over and placed a small device in front of them, a disc with strange symbols and blinking lights. "You saw the map," Kellen said. "Tell me everything." Jared explained what he had seen in the alien lab. The map, the red circle around Earth, the weapon symbol. Mira added what she remembered from her childhood, the stories her father told her about a last defense project on Earth, hidden deep underground. Kellen listened carefully, then stood up. "We've heard rumors for years. That Earth wasn't fully destroyed, that something powerful was left behind, but no one has ever found it. We have to," Jared said. "If we can reach Earth, we can find the weapon. We can end this." Kellen nodded. "We want that too. But we need fighters, pilots, and someone who can control alien tech." He looked directly at Jared. "You." Jared blinked. "Me? I'm not a soldier." Kellen smiled. "Not yet." The next days were hard. Jared and Mira began training with the Resistance. Every morning they ran through old tunnels, lifted strange weapons, learned how to shoot, dodge, hide, survive. Kellen taught Jared hand-to-hand combat. He wasn't strong, but he was fast and smart. Mira trained with the engineers. She had a natural gift with machines. Within days, she was fixing power cores and reprogramming drones. At night, Jared had dreams of Earth, of blue skies, of fire falling from the sky, of people screaming, and always at the end of the dream, a voice calling his name, a voice he didn't recognize but somehow knew. He woke up sweating. One evening, after training, Mira found him sitting alone. "You okay?" she asked. "I keep dreaming," he said. "About something calling me, like the weapon knows I'm coming." Mira looked serious. "Maybe it does." Later, Kellen took Jared and Mira to the deepest part of the base. There, behind thick doors, was a machine unlike anything they had seen. It was large, black, humming softly. It had human parts, wires, panels, but also alien tech, glowing in strange colors. "This," Kellen said, "is the mind weapon." Jared stepped closer. "What is it?" "It's a human AI built before the fall. It was meant to link with a human brain and control enemy tech, but so far no one can connect with it." Mira reached out. "Why not?" "Because it doesn't trust us," Kellen said. "It needs someone who was raised among the enemy, someone who understands both sides." He looked at Jared. "You grew up in their world. You learned their language, their systems. You're the only one who might connect." Jared stared at the machine. It was silent, waiting. Was this his purpose? Was this what all the pain, all the years in the cage were leading to? He nodded. "I'll try." Kellen placed a small headband on Jared. Wires connected to the machine. Lights blinked. The base fell silent. Jared closed his eyes. At first he felt nothing. Then, he was somewhere else. A dark space. Endless. Stars in every direction. Then, a voice. "Who are you?" He spoke in his mind. "My name is Jared, I am human," the voice replied. "You were a pet." "I was," Jared said. "But not anymore." Silence. Then the stars around him turned red. "Do you want to destroy them?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because they destroyed my world. They caged my people. They made us pets." The voice was quiet for a long time. Then, "Good." The lights on the machine turned bright green. The base gasped. Kellen stepped back in shock. "You did it," he whispered. "It chose you." Mira smiled through tears. "We have a weapon now." Above ground, in the high towers of Veltrax, the alien council watched the alert. The human AI had activated. They knew what it meant. Earth was calling, and Jared was answering. War was coming. The next morning, the base was alive with energy. Jared had done something no one thought was possible. He had connected with the mind weapon. Now, everything was moving faster. Plans were changing. The mission to Earth wasn't just an idea anymore. It was real. Kellen gathered the team in the main room, where a hologram of the galaxy floated above the table. Red lines marked patrol zones. Blue lights marked safe zones. Earth was far, almost on the edge of the map, but reachable with the right ship. "We have one chance," Kellen said. "The Council knows Jared activated the weapon. They will hunt us harder now. We need to leave within 2 days." Everyone nodded. No one asked what would happen if they failed. They all knew. Jared trained harder than ever. The AI inside the mind weapon, called Echo, was now speaking to him more clearly. Not like a friend, but like a guide. It showed him how to break alien firewalls, control security drones, and read hidden codes in the enemy's network. Mira was busy too. She was helping the engineers repair an old alien ship hidden beneath the city. It was fast, quiet, and had stealth tech stolen from the enemy. It would be their ride to Earth. Late at night, Jared and Mira stood on the ship's wing, looking at the stars. "Are you scared?" Jared asked. Mira smiled, terrified. "Same." They didn't say anything for a while. Then Mira whispered, "Do you think Earth is still alive?" Jared didn't answer right away. "I think something is, and it's waiting for us." But while they prepared, the aliens were not standing still. In the main tower of Veltrax, the High Council met in silence. Their leader, a tall, silver-eyed alien named Voran, stared at a blinking screen. "The human has connected to the Forbidden Core," he said. "That should not be possible." One of the other counselors hissed, "He must be destroyed." Voran nodded. "And so must everyone who helps him." They sent out the commanders, their elite hunters. These were not ordinary guards. They were trained to crush rebellions, track hidden signals, and kill without mercy. And now, they were looking for Jared. Back underground, the resistance was packing up. The ship was almost ready. Weapons loaded, fuel checked, escape route clear. They were planning to leave that night. Then everything changed. Boom. The entire base shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Lights flickered. Boom. Another explosion, closer this time. "They found us!" someone shouted. Screams followed. The screen on the wall showed a drone swarm heading toward their location. "Get to the ship," Kellen yelled. Jared grabbed on Mira's hand and they ran. More explosions. Lasers cut through walls. Resistance fighters fired back. Some fell. Others kept going. Jared saw a child crying in the hallway. He stopped, picked her up, and carried her with them. Mira helped an injured man walk. No one was left behind. They reached the ship just as the ceiling cracked. "Go, go, go!" Kellen shouted. They all climbed aboard. Mira rushed to the controls. Jared helped the others strap in. Kellen stayed by the door, firing at the enemy until the very last second. Then, boom! The door slammed shut. The engines roared. The ship lifted. Out of the tunnels, through the rubble, into the night sky. Laser blasts followed them. But Mira dodged like a pro. The ship twisted, turned, then vanished into stealth mode. Silence. They were safe. For now. Inside, the mood was quiet. They had escaped. But not without loss. Kellen was gone. Jared sat in the pilot's seat next to Mira. His hands were shaking. His heart was heavy, but his mind was clear. "Set course for Earth," he said. Mira nodded. "Already did." As the stars stretched around them, Jared heard the AI's voice again in his mind. "Closer. I can feel it." He leaned back and closed his eyes. They were heading home, to Earth, to the weapon, to the truth. But they weren't alone. Far behind them, a second ship followed, black, silent, and full of alien hunters. They would not let Earth be reborn without a fight. Phi. Journey through space was quiet, but no one on the ship could sleep. Jared sat near the main window, staring into the stars. Somewhere ahead was Earth. Somewhere behind, death followed. Mira worked non-stop, checking every system twice. The ship was holding together, but it was old. Any damage now could leave them, floating in space forever. Jared heard Echo's voice in his mind again. "We are getting close. I sense the signal. It is weak, but it's there." He nodded. "Keep tracking it." They passed through asteroid belts, old battlefields full of broken ships, and ghost signals from long-dead satellites. Sometimes they saw strange alien ships in the distance, but none got close. Yet. Then, after 2 days of silence, Earth came into view. Or what was left of it. The planet was covered in dark clouds. Parts of the surface were black and broken. Giant craters covered old cities. Oceans had turned red, in places. Still, it was Earth. Home. Everyone on the ship went quiet. Some cried. Others just stared. Jared whispered, "We made it." Echo spoke. "The signal is coming from under the surface, deep below what was once North America, a hidden vault." Mira brought the ship into low orbit. There was no sign of life, no buildings, just ruins. "We'll need to land manually," she said. The ship dropped through the clouds. Lightning flashed around them. Ash blew across the sky like snow. They landed in the middle of a dead forest. Trees were burned. The ground was cracked. But the signal was strong here. Jared stepped out of the ship. The air was dry and cold. He looked around and saw a broken sign half buried in dirt. It said, "Denver." They were standing on the ruins of a human city. With Echo guiding them, they followed the signal across the wasteland. Jared led the way, Mira close behind, along with 5 others from the Resistance. Each carried weapons and gear. They moved slowly, carefully. Then they found it. An old elevator shaft hidden under a pile of rocks. "This is it," Echo said. "The vault is down there." Mira cleared the rocks. Jared powered up the elevator, using a small energy cell. It groaned, then began to move. They descended into darkness. The air grew colder. The lights flickered. No one spoke. Then the elevator stopped. They stepped into a large underground chamber. Walls of steel. Light still glowing dimly after all these years. A large door stood ahead, covered in dust. Symbols glowed along the edge. Echo spoke in Jared's mind. "Place your hand on the panel." Jared walked forward. He placed his hand on the glowing circle. The door hissed open. Inside was something no one expected. A room full of stasis pods, hundreds, all with humans inside, sleeping, alive. Gasps filled the room. Mira rushed to one pod. "They're breathing. It's real. They survived," Echo spoke. This was Earth's last defense. When the aliens came, these people were placed in cryosleep, hidden until help came. "But we didn't know," Jared whispered. "No one did," said Echo. "They waited. For centuries. And now they can wake up. Jared's hands shook as he reached for the control panel, but then the ground shook. Boom. Dust fell from the ceiling. Something's here, Mira said. Jared's heart sank. Far above, the alien hunter ship had arrived. They had been followed. Sirens blared inside the vault. Red lights flashed. The pods began to hum louder, automatically preparing to wake the sleepers. We need to protect them, Jared said, until they're awake. The resistance team took position around the vault entrance. Then the door exploded. Alien hunters entered, tall, armored, fast. A battle began. Lasers flew. Explosions rocked the chamber. Jared ducked behind a console and fired back. Mira controlled defense turrets from the wall. Echo directed Jared toward weak spots in the enemy's armor. One by one, the resistance fighters were hit. Some kept fighting. Others fell. Jared ran to protect a pod that had been knocked loose. Inside, a child was waking up. "I won't let them take you," he said. Then he was hit. A blast threw him against the wall. Pain shot through his side. He saw an alien raise its weapon toward Mira. "No!" Jared screamed. Then everything stopped. The air froze. The lights turned blue, and every alien dropped their weapons. Echo spoke, louder, not just in Jared's mind, but in the whole room. "Jared is linked to me. You hurt him. You lose control of every system on this planet. Leave. Now." The aliens hesitated. Then, one by one, they backed away. They knew the truth. The AI inside Jared now controlled the last defense system of Earth. The aliens fled. Silence returned. Jared stood, blood on his side, but alive. Mira ran to him. "You did it." "No," he said, smiling weakly. "We did it." Behind them, the first pod opened. A woman stepped out, blinking in the light. "Is it over?" she asked. Jared looked at her, then up toward the ceiling. "No," he said. "It's just beginning. You said,